Good evening, and thank you for joining us again. You're on Street Talk with Father Russ. Thank you for allowing me back into your home another Wednesday night. Hope you enjoyed the show before me. The girls and my partner Bobby DeLello that was on their show, we enjoyed that, watching them. He probably got you all confused as usual. He's not on my show, aren't you lucky? But I have a very good friend I'm going to talk to you about. Tambria here is with me, but before I start the show tonight, I want to do my show in memory of the many men and women who went before me in the struggle of being outcast throughout their life and really, if ever, received any recognition even for their existence on this earth. To my friends and enemies locked up and trapped in a life of pain and marginalization, I pray you find meaning. In moving, I ran across an old bag that was that I was supposed to be throwing out. And in this bag, I want to tell you about that. But you men at Corrigan and people who are watching us, we are here for you. You'll have two of us that are ex-offenders. But this little bag I found, I call it a life in a bag. In a dirty old bag, I go through trinkets of a lost life, a small painted container made of jewelry, or made for jewelry, or some small objects, dirty and old, was made in Japan. I wondered why it was kept. A cloth butterfly on a magnet nail. I attached it to my computer as I wondered. A life past, all that is left are dirty objects in a little bag. AA was part of this man's life. A few chips, abstinency a day at a time, life in a bag. Little trinkets here, little trinkets there, a small artist's brush. A pin for North American Fishing Club. That's what I find, his life in a bag. My heart jumps as I finger the silver coin. U.S. Coast Guard Reserves, life in a bag. My thoughts go to see my baby now serving on the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Tahoma, his life in a bag tied to mine by sea, by art. I looked, and there is a wheel tied to a cross, life in a bag. A lonely man gone from this earth. Soon my life will be life in a bag. His name was Bill Walsh. For those of you who don't remember him, because of his death, the Hospitality Center here in New London got its major money. I hope his friends remember him as I do. And tonight we are going to talk about homelessness, struggle, and shelters. I have here with me my dear brother, whom we on occasion struggle over points of view, a person I have known for many years, a person who has shared in pains and suffering of many of the same places where I have been. I think he has great wisdom on the difficulties of what it takes to make it in society after you have heard, after we have made many mistakes, the difficulty. My guest tonight and good friend, Jack McCambridge, I love to see you and be on a show with you.
Thank you, Russ. And, glad to be here.
And tonight, this is a segue into what we want to talk about. Tonight I wanted to talk about homeless shelters, your view on homeless shelters. You know that I helped founded the Hospitality Center here and have some difficulties with what's happening with homeless shelters. One of the key things that I really wanted to have you here, and a lot of people don't know about, was the 10-year plan. We had people on the 10-year plan, and we had Mr.
Phil Mangano,
who you knew in Boston and everything else like that, and you know about the 10-year plan and what that means to you. So I guess that's what I want to talk about. You were part of an organization. You need to tell me about that.
Well, the first thing I would like to say, Father, is that homelessness is not only a problem, it's an inexcusable problem. It's inexcusable. It is. On any given night in the city of Los Angeles, on any given night, there are 88,000 homeless people. On any given night. Boston, where I come from, certainly we don't come close to that number. But per capita, it's the same thing. I mean, the money that we spend for things that money should not be spent for, whether it's war, whether it's so-called crime on drugs, which is a joke, right? If that money, or just a piece of it, were addressed to the problem of homelessness, homelessness would be solved tomorrow. It's not going to be. And one reason that it's not going to be, in my opinion, okay, what I used to do 10 years ago, 12 years ago, is I directed a project in Boston called the Homeless Civil Rights Project. And our mission was to politicize homeless people, to try and get them behind the idea that they had a right to affordable housing. They had a right to it. And if they acted in concert as a political unity, we might accomplish.
Much like I was trying to have. And I also, to my audience, Tambria is with me tonight. I think in my reading I didn't recognize that.
You mentioned me.
And did I mention you? Okay, my co-host and vice president of our organization. What that was when I first came here to New London was the idea to get the group that was homeless to be somewhat organized to get homes.
Right.
Not
to
get shelter.
The solution to homelessness
right.
is housing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really and truly that simple. Mm-hmm. My experience back then, and things have gotten a bit better. But my experience back then, that one of the stumbling block to politicizing homeless people, the stumbling block to a solution to homelessness, you know what it was? It was the institutionalized, gigantic shelter called Pine Street. Yep. The executive director back then, a guy named Rich Ring, in 1988 money, which I'm not sure what that's worth now, he made $150,000 a year. He had a vested interest. Pine Street, got money. They got money. They
still do, right? They're a large organization.
They had a vested interest
in keeping people,
in perpetuating the problem. See, it had become an institution, and it's like a law that once something becomes an institution, its raison d'etre becomes self-perpetuation. So they were the evil empire. They really were. They really and truly were. The Boston police were brutal, and some of them were brutal toward the homeless. They were not the problem, right? Boston politicians were more or less, they're drunks, they're drug addicts. What are we supposed? They were not the problem. The problem was that shelter. That shelter. Now there are smaller shelters who are not institutions, and they serve a purpose. But I'm gonna I don't want to keep repeating myself, but the solution to homelessness is housing. The feds now have HUD, even under Bush, believe it or not, have a program called Housing First. HUD is moving money out of services into housing. And it's a simple thing. You go out to a park bench, believe it or not. You go on the Boston Common to a park bench, and you get a homeless guy sleeping on the bench, and you move him into, not a shelter, not transitional housing, you move him into permanent housing. Problems? Yeah. Definitely problems. Definitely problems. What do you...
There's always a problem, and I mean, we know there's a problem, but see,